I think you discriminate against a certain group of guys, a certain group. I mean, no one else is getting discriminated like the running backs are getting discriminated right now, and money is flowing.
Emmitt, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate this. And we're just going to roll right along because we got a lot of good users that have some good questions, but I'm going to kick it off right now. Emmitt, like I said, I watched your Hall of Fame speech personally. I think it's one of the best I've ever seen. Like I said, it was emotional, it was inspirational, it was funny. What was kind of going through your mind during that speech and, kind of seeing your dad? Because I kept showing your dad, and your dad had the biggest smile on his face, and I was loving it every single time he was on the screen.
Well, you know what, Jesse? It was a surreal moment because the Hall of Fame speech actually gave me a chance to reflect over my life, and not only reflect over my life, but also the people who were there from the beginning, who've seen the entire process of Emmitt Smith becoming Emmitt Smith, as people would know him, and having the opportunity to, because I never really thought about going into the Hall of Fame. I always wanted to become a professional athlete, but Hall of Fame was just not on the radar. But I knew if I had achieved certain levels of achievement on the football field and stature on the football field, that would be a possibility. And so on Hall of Fame day, all I could think about was what I was going to say. And because I didn't write down my speech, I didn't take no notes up there on the stage. And I just came and shot right I ain't gonna say off the cuff, but it's something that I had prepared for almost 6, 7 months now. And so it was an amazing experience. I couldn't believe how much my heart was racing and how um, nervous I was about delivering something that I already knew. It was just crazy just to look out there in the sea of people and to see your family members um, who helped raise you, who birthed you, and your own children to be sitting out there in the audience. At the time, my wife, and just having it, and just taking it all in. It was an amazing, amazing experience. I mean, none like one like no other because team sports. I played my whole entire life. Winning Super Bowls, all team sports, and becoming an all-time leading rusher, all through team sports. And every time we are interviewed, we only have so much time to talk about the people who helped us. We only have so much time to really connect with the audience in such a way that there is not a sound bite. And the Hall of Fame gave me 22 minutes of just sheer excitement, enthusiasm, love, passion, back down memory lane, and just being able to give people their blessings and their thank yous while they were still alive. And so today, my father's no longer with me, my mother's no longer with me, but my children are, and so I'm still living out a Hall of Fame life, a Hall of Fame career, and they're still a part of it, and the memories will last forever for all of us. And so I'm internally grateful, not only to God for blessing me with the talent, but for the people to give me an opportunity to display that talent, for the Dallas Cowboys to believe in me enough to hand me the football and trust me enough to carry it as many times as they gave it to me, and just for the opportunity, the sheer opportunity, just to be on this life journey and to discover who I am.
Amen, my man. Amen. And I don't want to take any more questions away from any of the fans because I know we have a lot. So we're just going to roll right into it. Roger, you're going to be up first. And just a quick reminder for all the fans out there, like I said, we have a lot of users in the room right now. So we like to keep these questions and answers to 3 minutes so we can get to as many people as possible because I know there's a lot of questions for E. So, Roger.
I'm going to try to make it short myself. I have a tendency to go long.
Hey, it's all good. You're the star of the show, my man. So you do what you got to do. But yeah, we're going to roll with Roger first. Roger, take it away.
My question for you is I'm actually a pastor, and your testimony has been super cool just with your grandma and, kind of the verse that she had given you when you went off to college. And so I guess my only question for you is going to be a faith question. It's actually not a football question, but faith wise, can you talk a little bit just about, kind of where that began with your grandma going off to college, and kind of how you live that verse out and how you live out kind of that wisdom that you got as a young, boy into a young man, and then obviously who you are today.
Well, appreciate it. First and foremost, for those who may not know, I grew up with obviously both set of parents and grandparents. I remember all of my grandparents been alive at some point in time and been able to watch them transition on. But my grandmother on my father's side, not that the others were not spiritual, because we used to go to my grandmother on my mother's side house every Sunday, and that's where I learned how to play football at. But my grandmother on my father's side was confined to a wheelchair, and this woman read the Bible every day, and used to talk to us about the Bible. Used to have prayer meetings at her house and hear the Holy Ghost just flowing all through the house and everything else. So she was the, what I would call the matriarch of spirituality within the Smith clan. And so when I became 18 years old and I was getting ready to leave to go to the University of Florida, she called me into the house before I left. Obviously, she and my grandfather, they prayed over me and everything else. My grandfather went out and prayed over the car before I even left. But my grandmother gave me the verse, Proverbs 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. And I try to live that motto out every day of my life ever since I studied and learned that verse. And so when that comes down to making tough decisions or big decisions, obviously I got to hit my knees and go to praying about what decision should I make? Is it my selfish decision or is it a spiritual decision? And even in selfish decision, what I've come to learn, it may not be exactly what God wants you to do, but it's God's way of giving you a nudge back to where he wants you at. Because if it's not successful, you have to look at self and you have to understand the process of the decision that you made that led to that situation. But what God may want you to do may be completely different. But if all things do work together for the good of those who love the Lord, then we're talking about a mistake that really was your pathway to get to where God wanted you to go. Now, with that said, when I left, that's how I started living out that thing. Whenever it became a tough situation, I had to lean on my faith and lean on those things and remind myself of what my grandmother taught me. In 95, 96, when I had a hurt ankle and messed up my knee, and I was in a tub the whole entire year, I had to lean on faith. I went through a state of depression, but Mark 2 and A and my faith and being angels all around you. Angels come in all kinds of shapes and forms. And you have to just be open enough to receive those angels and the message that's for you. And you have to decipher between an angel versus your own selfish desires drawing and wooing the wrong messages in. And you always have to ask yourself the question, though, is this really for me? Or is this me seeking what I want? And my eyes are just leading me to what I want. Do I really want this cake? Or should I have this kale? Or do I really want this steak? Or should I get this chicken or this turkey or whatever it may be? It's all about trying to control and trying to submit your fleshy desires. Now, we all have them. We all have them. As long as you got eyes, as long as you got smell, as long as you got a taste, you have those desires. But I have to lean on my faith to get me through each and every day of my life right now.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate that, Emmitt. Praying for you always, buddy. Appreciate all that you do. And I'm going to call it your ministry because, like, I'm a pastor, but you're ministering in ways that it's just unbelievable. So I'm very grateful for you and your testimony.
Thank you. Take care. Drive safe.
You know, this weekend special, not only for you, a Hall of Famer, but all the rest of the Hall of Famers. We saw it last weekend. Last year we went fishing during the weekend. Y'all had that connection and that chemistry. So what does it mean, not only for you, but the rest of the Hall of Famers in a couple of weeks for Hall of Fame Enshrinement Weekend?
You know, I think for all of us, it's a great time for us to come back together and get together once a year to see each other because, you know, we're not getting any younger, and every year that they induct a new class, I get older and older and older. And this year we lost Jim Brown just about a month and a half ago. And It's just a reminder of how frail life really is, but how enjoyable life can be if we're fit and taking care of ourselves and our bodies. We can live a long life. Jim Brown lived a long life, who played the game of football, and many others. And so, but it's just one of those kind of things where we're a selected group of men out of so many thousands of men who have played this game come together for one weekend to celebrate six other men coming into the hall. So, I mean, it's a great weekend.
It's always exciting too to see that many amazing players, whether they're just getting inducted this year, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It's always fun to see that. So
yeah.
I know we got more Hall of Fame questions, or we got more questions, and that doesn't have to be Hall of Fame. So we're just going to roll right along with it. Mario, take it away.
Hey, it's going, Emmitt. How's things?
Things are good. How are you doing, brother? How you doing, love?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Y'all got a wedding coming up in September, right?
Next September.
Yeah.
Next September.
Yes, please.
Oh, a whole another year from now.
Yeah.
We got another year. We got time.
Okay. That's taking some of the pressure off right there.
That is impressive that you remember that with all you have going on in your life.
You are the man.
No, y'all been too good to me. Y'all been too kind.
Oh.
No, stop, man. Stop. You're part of the family. Part of the family.
Thank you.
Just to let you know, that was beautiful what you said about grandma and grandpa. I was lucky enough to have all my grandparents around too, and they were a big part of my life. And I'm in the same boat with you. But I'm also about your Hall of Fame speech was fantastic, wonderful. Loved the way they kept on showing your mother and your father, and just awesome. Awesome people, awesome family. And I was just so happy for you because obviously we all know you deserve it, being the best of all time. My Hall of Fame question, and then I'll hang up. I'll let other people get there. You talked about the Marcus Ware going on. When is Darren Woodson going in? Like, come on, man! Like, it's not time, right?
You know what, Mario? It's sad for me because the people who are making these decisions in terms of the selection committee, if you will, and most of them are writers. And there's bias amongst all writers, especially if you're a beat writer for the Cowboys, or you're a beat writer for the Skins, or you're a beat writer for this team and that team and everything else. How collaborative could you really be, and how open and unbiased can you really be? Everybody's partial to someone.
You're right.
Therefore, I honestly believe that Hall of Fame players who know more about the ins and outs of each and every player and the caliber player that a player really is should have some say in terms of who comes into this very small knitted group of men. And until that happens, you won't see some of the guys that you expect to get in. A guy like a Darren Woodson, or a guy like an Eric Williams, who had to go up against Reggie White and other Hall of Famers that he absolutely destroyed at times and made Reggie White so mad he probably cussed on the football field, and he was the minister of defense. So, I mean, just the sheer greatness of individual players that have been left off of the Hall of Fame list and others that are on the Hall of Fame list. Some people we know, some we don't know. Some I'm just learning myself. But until that happens, guys like Darren Woodson may be on the outside looking in, but I believe in my whole heart that he will get in sometime soon.
I agree with you. Listen, it was great talking to you as always. I'm going to let other people get in. We'll be talking about that wedding.
Yeah.
You, Alan, Jesse, Mike.
All right.
When you look back at that moment and see your dad smiling, and that trivia question I asked of who is the greatest running back from Pensacola no one's ever seen, and that story hits home,
Right.
What was kind of going through your mind when you were telling that story?
Well, what went through my mind was the different times. I mean, obviously, I was blessed to be able to have footage and tape. VHS tapes and also reel to reel. We went from reel to reel to VHSs. And so, but my father did not have the luxury of having that kind of tape or that kind of footage that could be handed down from generation to generation. Now we living in a digital world. If my kids want to see anything about Emmitt Smith, the good, the bad, and the ugly, they can find it all right here over the internet or on YouTube or someplace that that's archiving these things. And so in my speech, you know, just to see him smile, he's always told me he was proud of me. Always told me that. And so, but to have him there and my family there, again, to be able to isolate them all individually and talk about them in such a way that garners their respect and my appreciation for the upbringing and the life lessons and just the sure connectivity that my family and I have, my brothers and sisters, all of us. I mean, we're close. And you know, I've heard people say, I've never seen y'all argue. And we don't. We have family discussions, we have family debates, but we don't argue. We don't argue at all. And at the end of the day, I think the lost art of respect for one another, and respect is earned, not just given, has gone wayside. Growing up in a time where I had to say yes, sir, and no, ma'am, not because you was white or not because you were black, it was because you was wisdom. You was much older, and children had to respect their elders. That doesn't exist today. That doesn't at all, because somebody has made the yes, sir, and the no, ma'am more racial than it really should be. There should be a sign of respect, even though it may have been used in racial terms back in the day. It's a sign of respect to all people that are older than all you young folk. And having that level of humility is the first form of growth. Because if you can beat your tongue to say yes, sir, and no, ma'am in a respectful way, then that's the first form of discipline. And you can grow from that, and you can learn from there. You can grow into something that earn the respect that you deserve from someone else that's younger. And so seeing my pops, kudos to him, because that talent had to come from someplace. and so I'm just grateful that I was able to not only live out his dreams, but live out my dreams as well.
Definitely one of the best part of that speech, my man. Really do appreciate it. So we're just gonna keep rolling with the users right now. James, take it away.
Well, we talked about losing Jim Brown this year, one of the greatest running backs, but we also lost one of the greatest running backs from Pensacola as well.
Yeah.
But my question isn't directly related to Hall of Fame necessarily, but and I wanted to ask this with DeMarcus, but he was kind of stretched for time. Why did you sign a one-game contract to go back with the Cowboys? What did that mean to you? Because it wasn't paid, it wasn't anything. It's just kind of ceremonial. What did that actually do to you? What did you make that decision? Is that something that Jerry asked you to do?
No. It truly was a ceremonial situation. I originated with the Dallas Cowboys, played 13 years with the Dallas Cowboys, and eventually was released by the Dallas Cowboys and signed with the Arizona Cardinals. Well, upon completing my Cardinals contract, the Cardinals had my rights to the end. So if I was to come back and play ball or something of that nature, or since I was a free agent now, they let me go, I can go and sign with any team. And so I knew I was going to retire. And being able to retire with the team that I played 13 years with and achieved 3 Super Bowls with, and all the other great things that came along with being the Dallas Cowboy, it was only fitting that happened. That was the complete plan anyway. Dorsett left and went to the Denver Broncos, but came back and retired as a Dallas Cowboy. You know, things like that happen. Jerry Rice left and went and played with the Oakland Raiders, then with the Seattle Seahawks, and then maybe the Broncos, and then came back and retired as a 49er because he's a 49er. And so forth and so on. Dion, even though he played with the Cowboys, he also played the Falcons. He went back and signed as a Falcons, but he loved the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? It was a combination of both for him. And so that's just the way this works, where you've had your success at, and when you started your career, most players gravitate back to it.
Sure. Well, I appreciate it. I kind of figured that's what it was, but I didn't know if there was like a decision that was made, like Jerry said, hey, will you come sign back or something like that? But
no, I mean, if Romo was to leave and come back, he would leave and come back and sign as a Cowboy. You know, when Aaron Rodgers gets done, I think he's going to go back and sign as a Packer.
Right.
Tom Brady, I don't know how the hell he retired. He just retired.
Yeah. Yeah, he ain't eligible for the Hall of Fame for a few years, you know.
No, not for a
First
few
ballot,
years.
we're not sure yet, but we'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, Tom Brady didn't make a true official announcement like most of us have done. We had press conferences and everything else and so forth, truly announcing our retirement. So Tom Brady might be still playing with the thought of coming back and forth, you know what I'm saying? But I doubt it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate it, man. We'll talk another time. You have a wonderful day, and hopefully you got some good health coming your way.
All right, James. Thank you.
Emmitt, now you talked about signing a contract, and I kind of want to piggyback off that a little bit. You see all this stuff coming about the running backs, getting on a text message strand, a Zoom call. They, talking about being underpaid, their contract situations, whatever it may be with Saquon and Jacobs out in I was about to say Oakland, L.A. or Las Vegas, excuse me. You're seeing all this stuff go down. What's kind of your thought process about these guys kind of bonding together and kind of starting their own union? It looks like.
Well, I think it's good that they do bond together. I think it's even better if the Players Association stand up for their rights and everything else and demand equal pay and quality pay. Because there's a number of quarterbacks in the National Football Leagues that's not worthy of the dollars that they're getting. And there's a ton of running backs that are shouldering the load, making the quarterback look good, converting on those critical downs and distance, coming out of the backfield, doing what they're doing, and not being rewarded for it for whatever reason. And I think it's disrespectful. I think it's borderline wage wage resistance, and I think you discriminate against a certain group of guys, a certain group. I mean, no one else is getting discriminated like the running backs are getting discriminated right now, and money is flowing, and I understand that the perception is the franchise quarterback, but Barry Sanders was not a franchise quarterback. He was a franchise running back for the Detroit Lions and was the best thing that they ever had during this period of time. And Neil O'Donnell was good for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but when you take Bam Morris and the other backs that they had at the time, they helped Neil O'Donnell become Neil O'Donnell. It's not like everybody have a quarterback like a Dan Marino that's a gunslinger the whole entire time, or Jim Kelly, who also had Thurman Thomas coming out of the backfield. I'm just naming a few guys. And so Aaron Rodgers is that guy. Tom Brady is that guy. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. Joe Burrows can be that guy and is that guy, in my opinion. I don't see the Giants quarterback being that guy. I don't see that. I don't even know who the heck Tampa Bay gonna have. Dak's not gonna be that guy, and so forth. And Houston don't have a guy. They still trying to figure out who that guy is. I mean, and Justin Hubbard is still growing into that guy. So there's a lot of fluff going on to some of these athletes and some of these players, not just the quarterbacks, but straight across the board. A lot of these guys are told that they are superstars and told that they're franchise quarterbacks, and no one has earned the right to get that label yet, except for a guy like a Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or just some of the names that I did mention.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Saquon go off too, man. He's just on your same level right now, frustrated because it's I mean, when you put up over 1,000 yards, someone like Christian McCaffrey too. I mean, what the dudes and Deebo Samuel out in San Fran. I mean, those guys are putting in work every single time, but they're going to get hit too.
Yeah.
So
they get hit a lot more than that daggone quarterback is.
Who is even the quarterback for the 40? You don't even know.
Right now, I mean, they lost 3 last year in the first 6, 7, 8 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones, whatever his contract.
Daniel Jones, I mean, come on, man. And then the kid from, I don't like to talk about people, but I'm going to simply talking about quarterbacks. The kid for the Jets who didn't even lead his team and never lost the respect of his team.
Oh, he's done. Yeah, Wilson.
So, I mean, you talking about putting money in the hands of people that's supposed to be your leaders, but a lot of them don't earn the right. Just because you tell him he's a franchise quarterback and he's a starting quarterback doesn't mean that he garners the respect of his teammates.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that.
And you can see Saquon too, and he's got the respect of his teammates.
I bet he does.
Dalvin Cook had the respect of the Vikings teammates. You know,
Yes,
all
he
these
did.
exactly. So it's it's one of these things where is the game changing? Sure, but running backs still have value to it. 100%. It's not even close. So I'll be interested to see what comes from this, and obviously you will be as well. I could talk hours about this, and I think you could too. We're just going to keep on rolling with fans, though. Folks, that's what we're doing. Hey, we're bringing up the discussions. We're getting things going. So definitely having an electric event, like I said before. But up next, Lou, take it away.
I know the NFL's never had an African American owner in its 102-year history.
Yeah.
So, what does Magic Johnson becoming an NFL team owner mean to you personally and the league?
Well, I think it's awesome. Really is. I know Magic. Magic is like a mentor to me from afar. He helped me transition into the real estate space. He's a guy that I can pick up the phone and call on and lean on. So to see him become part of an ownership team of the National League is wonderful. And I think it's great. And I think he's going to do wonders for the organization if the organization give him an opportunity to step up and truly become the face of the organization. I wanted that opportunity at some point, but I got to get my coins in place like Magic. But Magic has been tremendous in terms of showing us athletes how to transition. There's some other guys out there doing some big things too, but Magic has been one of those guys on the forefront and one of the biggest names outside of Jordan and Tiger Woods and a few others, Muhammad Ali, when it comes down to African-American athletes stepping out there and doing great things at the business level in the billions of dollars. And so I love watching it happen because he's paving the way. He's leaving the lights on for others to follow. And hopefully someday my opportunity come to do something like that. And we'll see.
What was some of the best advice that Magic gave to you?
Well, one of the things that Magic did for me when I was negotiating my first contract with the Starback Company when I transitioned out, he walked me through a number of different things that I should ask for, that I should have in my contract. And he understood what I was trying to do from a business perspective, but he said, these are the things that you need to have. And that was invaluable lessons. I don't really want to get into the details of what he and I discussed, but he laid down like 5 or 6 straight great points that I could use and would and still use to this day in terms of negotiation strategies.
Well, it couldn't happen to a better guy, and I think you're right behind him. Looking forward to the restaurant. You've got the race team, so you're starting to dabble, and you've always been, someone who followed through on your hopes and dreams. So I think you'll be there one day, and I'll root you on in the meantime. Always great to see you, brother.
Likewise, be good.
All right, Emmitt, we're going to go to one last user, and then we're going to wrap this event up. Once again, thank you so much, eBay, for helping us out. And when we come back after selfies, I'll ask Emmitt one more question about Hall of Fame weekend and obviously the fishing experience. But we'll get to Paul right now. Paul, take it away.
I have a little leader right here who's going to be reading it one day.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm excited about the season coming up. I think we have a good squad. So, a lot of Cowboy fans, I don't think we give McCarthy his credit. So I love what he's brought in. So, I was at the Green Bay game this year. Like the Packer fans, they still love him. So he just brought in a lot of good changes with, we weren't drafting Mozzie Smith in old administrations. We weren't drafting Tyler Smith. So I personally think he's the best thing that's happened to our franchise in a long time. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I think some of that is still to be proven. I think this season he can definitely solidify his mark by since he's taken over the play calling and doing some of those things. I look forward to seeing how the team transition and how they look underneath his leadership as an offensive coordinator. The one thing I do know when he was with Green Bay, they didn't do a whole lot of wasting plays. And we can't afford to waste plays. We got to have efficiencies and consistency, and guys need to know where they're going to do, what they got to do, and when they got to do it, and timing wise. No, but I think we have a chance. But my biggest concern is getting past Philly. Philly loaded up big time this offseason, and they were great last year. I think they're gonna be even better this year because of some of the additions that they actually have. They got fighting power and staying power, and the only thing that can hurt Philly is a bunch of injuries.
Same with us though. So
yeah,
Dak plays his best against Philly. So
yeah, we're gonna be competitive.
Yeah. I think he's going to be a good play caller. I think he's the man for the job. So.
Yeah, but we need everything to come around him and Michael Parsons and everyone else. We need that whole defense to come together, just like we need that whole offense to come together. We need that offensive line to come together. And the thing that concerns me the most about us is not being able to run the ball effectively. I mean, I don't know how Tony Pollard is going to bounce back from his ankle injury or his leg injury. Deuce Vaughn is good, but Deuce Vaughn can't carry 25, 30 times a game. And then, you know.
The Florida guy, Malik, is there too. So Malik.
Yeah, Malik. Yeah. We'll see. They got rid of Malik, didn't they?
No, he's still here.
Okay, good. I mean, between Malik Davis and Zeke would have been back, man, that would have been something different, but that's okay. We're going to have to work with what we have. These guys understand they have a tremendous opportunity to make something happen. Yeah. And here they go.
Yeah. So sorry. She's reading your book as we speak. So.
All right. Well, Paul, y'all be good.
Thank you, man.
All right, Emmitt. I'm not trying to be a salesman right now, but last year, Canton Hall of Fame fishing trip, other than the Dramamine, other than the seasickness, other than the bad, that's a little bit the little negatives. How was that fishing trip, man? How exciting was it?
You know, it was a good time. It really was a good time. I had a good time. I'm not a big fisherman, but I enjoyed fishing that day. And I look forward to fishing again this next week as well. And so I had a good time. It was a competitive venture. My boat versus everyone else's boat. I think we beat your boat.
Ray was with you when we tried to settle this at dinner the one time. Y'all, I'm not going to say cheated. I'm just going to say people thought we cheated because we came in late. No, we went further out because we were trying to get the bigger fish. That's part of the challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to deal with some adversity sometimes.
Yeah, and it costs you.
That's on Ray. That's on Ray. But folks, that's what I'm talking about right now. That's kind of the banter you're going to see. Please go check out our Notable Live on eBay shop page. It's absolutely going to be a blast in a couple of weeks. Still got time to bid on the boat to hang out with Emmitt or Ray or a couple of other Hall of Famers. I know we had Andre Reed and Bruce Smith last year and Terrell Davis and Warren Sapp. So it's going to be fun. Emmitt, thank you so much for your patience tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for answering those questions as well.
All right, bro. Y'all be good. Thank you, Jesse. Great job as always.